welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to color in Joanna Basford's Worlds of Wonder. I did a video a few days ago and it was called The Thought Process of a Colorist. I've done a couple videos like that, but the previous ones I did were quite a while ago and they were really popular. So I decided to do another one, and I had colored a bird in this book and I only colored just the bird using a color palette. And so everybody had requested that I finish coloring the little circle that the bird was in this book. And so that is what we are going to do today. If you enjoy videos like this, please do make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn your bell notifications on as well. If you check the description box below, you will find information down there for my Facebook group, as well as my email list and my Patreon if you would like to support me there. We are going to go ahead and get into this color along. This is the bird that I was coloring. Some of you, I'm sure, have seen that video, and those of you that have not, I will make sure it is linked in the upper right hand corner. In the last video, I used Sarah Renee Clark's color catalog, and I chose a color palette that I followed, and so I already had my colors chosen. This is the color palette that I used when I colored this bird. You can see that it pretty much matches up really well, and it turned out really pretty. So I am going to choose another color palette today because I want to be able to show you a little something about how this fabulous tool works. This color palette was from her Volume 2 color catalog, and today I'm going to go to the color catalog Volume 1 to choose my colors for all of the leaves and the strawberries. So here I have the color catalog Volume 1, and it is sorted by colors, keywords, and collections. I am going to go to keywords because I'm coloring strawberries, and so I want to be able to get some colors for a strawberry and use this catalog to be able to do that. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, and there is actually a keyword for fruit, and it's going to take me directly to the section with all of the color palettes that are related to fruit. I'm going to expand this just a little bit, and I can see that there are a few that have pictures of strawberries. Here is one right here. Here is another one. Let me see if there's any more. Yes, here is another one with some strawberries. So I think we're going to have to choose one of those. Of course, there are more down here, but there's no strawberries down there. So we are going to stick to one of these, and I'm looking at this one. This color palette is 086. We're going to click on that so that it comes up on our screen. Here's color palette 086, and the reason I'm choosing this one is because it gives me a few more colors. The other ones had chosen colors that were sort of from the background of the photo that the colors were matched up for. So I'm going to choose this one because these colors here are really great colors to be able to mix to put some color in our strawberries. The next thing that I want to show you is I want to show you how we're going to use the color companion to help us with this. This is color palette 086. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this color palette and I'm just going to take a screenshot of it so I don't have to go back and search for it again. That's why this is such an amazing tool. I can search for anything I want, whether it is a keyword, a category, and it will take me right to that section. If I want to go back, like say I wanted to go back home, I just click on the home button again, and it takes me to the very front section of the color catalog. And then again, I can browse again by the colors, the keywords, and the collections. And it is just a whole slew of information. Of course, she has her introductions up here. She tells you how to navigate, how to use it, how to find a palette. But I'm going to show you how I match up some of my colors. A lot of times when I match up my colors, I will do it all on my own. I have several videos showing you how to choose your colors, and I have one video that's actually specifically for showing you how to choose your colors for your coloring pages. I'll make sure that one is linked up in the upper right hand corner. But this is the Color Catalog Companion. This one is for Prismacolors. There are several others that you could add on if you purchase the Color Catalogs 1 and 2. This is an add-on that you can also purchase that will give you the exact numbers that you need for each box on your color palette. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that now. This is the color palette that I chose, which is Color Palette 086. So if I go over to my Color Companion, I can come over here and I can scroll through the Color Companion. This one is for Prismacolors, and I'm using Prismacolors. So I'm going to go down here, they're all in order, and I am going to find 086, which is right here. And you can see it gives us the exact colors here for every single box. Now, if you wanted to be able to print this out, you could surely do so. And that is what these boxes are for, so that if you wanted to print it out and have it by your side or keep it in a notebook or put it in a binder, you could always color these boxes in to show the colors of your actual Prismacolors. I do also want to show you that these are the colors that I actually used in the bird from the other color palette, and I sort of wanted to keep, I actually used more colors than this, but I pulled out the blues because I'm not going to be using any blues today. And I tell y'all all the time, it's so important to bring balance to your page. So my idea was to also use some of these colors that are here to bring into this area here, and then sort of use the new color palette to bring in some other colors as well, and sort of just help me with that and guide me just a little bit. So these are the colors that I used, and I've got these beautiful, these are going to look beautiful for my leaves. I used them here on the bird, and so I want to be able to use these colors again. These are the chartreuse colors. So this is the yellow chartreuse and then the regular chartreuse, and I believe this might be spring green. Yeah, spring green, and then grass green. So those are the greens I have chosen. Oh, and I have dark green here as well. And I'm not sure that I used the dark green in the bird. I think I might have just pulled out the dark green because I thought it would go really well, and I like to use that as a shadowing color. But then I've also got some pinks here that I used previously, and I figured I would bring a little bit of that into the strawberries. I have matched up my colors. We have this 1023, it says that this is one of the really light blues. And I'm not going to use that one because I don't think I'm going to be adding any blue into this. So this video is called The Thought Process of a Colorist. And so this video may get a little chatty because the whole point of this video is for me to just continuously discuss all of my thoughts, and you can just see how I go through the process of selecting my colors and what I'm thinking all throughout my decisions while I'm coloring my coloring page. So I went ahead and I picked the colors for this color palette, and the first one is 911, which is olive green. The next one here is 925, Crimson Lake. The next one is 924, which is Crimson Red, and then 928, which is Blush Pink. So I may be pulling in some other colors. I have other colors that are laying here off to the side. So I may be pulling in other colors as I do this, and we will see what I come up with. Of course, right now, I have no idea what I even want to do with this. And that's the whole point of this video, just to sort of color along with you all and show you my entire thought process as I decide and make decisions as I go along, and the whole image just sort of comes together. If you're interested in Sarah Renee Clark's color catalog, I will have a link down in the description box below. You can purchase Color Catalog 1 as well as Color Catalog 2, and you also have the choice of adding on the color companions. And it is a fabulous tool. It's one of those things that you did not know that you needed until you had it. At least that's the way that I felt about it. I did want it for a really long time, but I kind of like was wishy-washy and went back and forth, and then after I had it, I was like, oh, where have I been? So yeah, it's a really, really great tool. But I think that we should probably start maybe with the leaves. And I don't know, what are we going to do for these leaves? So I know I want to use my greens because I might want to even use my yellow chartreuse. So I'm pulling all of my greens. These are all the greens I have. A lot of these greens, one of them is actually from the color palette. And then like I told you earlier, I wanted to be able to pull in some of the colors that I've already used in the bird. So I have all of my greens that I have set aside here. Actually, do I have one more? Yes, I do. So I have one more, so I'm going to kind of just be alternating between these colors. We'll see if I even use the one from the color palette. I mainly wanted the color palette for the strawberries. So what we're doing here is we're sort of going from one color palette to the other, and we're just bringing everything together using the colors that I chose from the previous color palette and pulling new colors from the new color palettes. Those of you that have never done that before, it's just a new way to use color palettes, or maybe a new idea and something for you to think about. I'm going to go ahead and start on my leaves. And I think that I want to use my yellow chartreuse because y'all know how I am about highlights. And I want a huge pop of color. So I'm just putting this all in the center, and I'm going to do this for this leaf over here as well. Of course, you know I'm going to go over this with some other colors, but I'm just filling in all of the highlighted areas. And if you have this book, feel free to pull it out and follow along with me. And if you've not watched the first video yet, you could always go back and watch the first video where I colored the bird, and then come back and color this one. So I have plenty of my highlight color laid down. Now I think I want to come back with my, should we use the color from the color palette? Or should we use a different green? Let me add a little bit of the spring green in here, because now this is the first color palette. So I'm bringing in some of the colors from the bird down into the leaves, and the same for the chartreuse, or the chartreuse yellow, what I was just using, that is also coming from up here and being brought down into the leaves. I think I just want to add a little bit of green just in certain areas in each one of the leaves. I'm just going to lay this color all over towards the outside, and I'm going to do the same thing in each one of these. Let's do it to this leaf as well. And I just want to pull my color into the yellow chartreuse. Keep coming around the entire leaf. And I want to lay the color in different places in each one, not necessarily all in the same place. I'm going to go ahead and use my dark green now, because I think I just want a little bit of color all where the veins of the leaf are. I'm doing this very lightly. Now, all throughout this video, you will see me, I'm sure lots of times, sort of question myself, and that is all part of the process when you're coloring. Because when you start a coloring page, we don't always necessarily have a plan. On this leaf, I'm sort of just laying it in different areas and adding more of that dark green down in this area, as well as going over the veins. And I don't know how far I'm going to get in this video, or if I'm even going to have time to color most of the outer part. I may have to come back and do another one of these videos just to get it all in. Notice I'm holding my pencil to the side because this is my darker color and I really don't want to lay a whole lot of it down. Not yet anyway, because I really don't have a plan yet. And if y'all have seen my videos before, you know that I never really have a plan when I start a coloring page. I just sort of go and color as the thoughts come into my head, and I decide exactly where I want to go with it. Notice I am putting the darker color towards the areas where there is one leaf laying on top of another. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do the same thing all here where the bird is closest to the leaf, and the same thing over here where this leaf is laying over the other one. And then over the veins just like I did with the others. If you put a darker color over the veins of your leaves, it will really help them to stand out when the leaf is done being colored. But right now we're just working on adding a few layers so that we could blend the colors together. And of course I'm going to have to pull some of these colors through as well so that they can all come together and it doesn't look like I've just got colors just laying all over the place. I'm going to add a bit more of my dark green all in this area. And over here, because I want it to look like one leaf is actually laying on top of the other. I think I'm going to come over here and do the same thing and add some of my darker color. I have my chartreuse, and I think I'm going to use this just to sort of go in a circular motion towards the centers of the leaf and blend some of these colors in. And I'm going to continue to do this on all of the leaves, anywhere that I laid that darker green. Now I think I want to come back with my dark green and really start adding another layer in here. I did off to the side sharpen it with my Doll 133 to make sure that I have a rather sharp lead, and I'm using rather light pressure just so that I could get some pigment down onto the paper now, because now that I've got some of the colors laid down exactly where I feel as though I want them, I'm just going to come back and really start expanding upon that and adding more and more color. And you'll see the difference that it makes as I continue to keep coming back and laying down the layers one on top of the other. And I'm really going to define these veins in the leaves. I really want them to stand out. In any of the areas where I have one leaf laying on the other leaf, I really want to create a more shadowed area in those places. So I'm laying a lot of my darker green over there. Now I'm going to come over here and do the same thing for this one. This dark green is one of the colors that I really love to use when I'm trying to create shadows in shades of green. If I'm using just my regular tones of green, that's when I would use this. When I'm using my more olivey greens, then I have other colors that I prefer. I'm going to come over here and do the same thing, all here behind the bird. I'm going to add a little bit in here where the bird is resting on the leaf. Okay, y'all, so now I just had a thought. And I've got my blush pink, and I want to combine the pink with the green just on the outsides of the leaves. I love mixing greens with pinks. I think it's so pretty, and I love doing it on leaves. And it just gives it a little bit of a different look because your leaves don't always have to be just green. I'm going to do this on the outer edge of every single one of the leaves, pulling it in a little bit closer on some of them. Here I'm going to come over towards the center as well, blending this color in. Look how pretty that is. This one I have a lot of room to add my pink. And I don't know, what do y'all think? You think I should come back with another pink too? Maybe I should add a couple different shades of pink just to add a little bit of variation in colors. And this one, I really can't add too much because I did a little bit of the darker greens over here. So I'm just going to add just a little bit over in here, going over some of the other colors, just so that it has some pink too, and then it will make this one look just a little bit different than the others. Sometimes you just have to get a little bit daring with your mixing of colors and mix colors that you wouldn't normally think would look good together. I want to add a little bit just down in here. I think I want more pink. What do y'all think? I don't know. I'm trying to see what other colors I used in the bird, because I'm trying to bring some of these colors down here like I told you before. So I'm wondering if I should go with my hot pink and that would be dark enough, or maybe I should add just a little speck of the processed red. Let me try just doing a little bit of the processed red and see what, oh, look how pretty. Okay, that's what my leaves needed. Look how gorgeous. Oh, I love it so much. See, y'all, sometimes you start out in one place and then end up in another. I'm going to continue to add just a little bit of this all on the outside. Oh, this is so pretty. And then I'm going to be able to use the lighter pink to just be able to pull some of these colors through and blend them out just a little. These are going to be some really cool looking leaves. So I'm continuing on this last leaf here. And I want to add just a little bit extra pink on this one. Now I'm going to grab my blush pink again, and I'm going to blend that out just a little bit. And I think I'm going to start pulling it a little bit more into the other colors. Look how pretty. See, your leaves don't always have to be ordinary. They could be different. And there are some leaves that have shades of pink in them. Pink is a shade of red. It has red in it, so we see leaves all the time that have little specks of different colors. And it's always fun to bring those ideas from realism into your coloring pages. I want a lot more pink on this particular leaf, just so it could look a little bit different than the others. I'm trying to see if I could get a little bit more of my colors to just blend in here, more so than it did the others. But the paper in these books doesn't really necessarily take as much layers as some of the other books or the paper. So we will see how much I could get down here. But I really like the way they look so far, and I love how this one is blending all through. I think I want extra pink over here on this one too. I'm going to try to pull this and layer it over the other colors. This one has a lot of pink in it. I think I actually want to add even more pink on that one. So I'm going to come in here and just go around and add a bit more of my processed red. This is why I always go slow, because I don't know exactly where I'm going or what I'm doing until I actually start the coloring process and start to get my colors laid down on the paper. I don't usually know where I want to go with it. So I just sort of go really slow as I'm building up the layers. Right now I'm just working on building up some more of these pinks and just trying to decide exactly how much pink I want on each leaf. But I do want each one of my leaves to look different. So you could see as I go and I just sort of look at it, I pull the pink even in further to the greens. And I just try to just go really slow and try to determine as I go along what I think is going to look good. Now I'm going to come back over here to this side of the leaf. And then over here on this one. I think I really want this leaf to stand out just because it's the one that's right underneath the bottom of the bird. And then this leaf here is going to have just a little bit of pink. And now, of course, again, I need to blend that out with my blush pink so that it sort of blends in nicely to the greens. And I want to spread that pigment out just a little bit. And I'm going to do that all around in all of the other leaves. Oh, look how pretty that is. Now I have my 70% warm gray, and I have a little bit of an idea Now, pink is a warm color, and so if you want to create shadows on top of pink, then you would use a warm gray. I chose my 70% warm gray. I don't know yet if it's going to be dark enough or not, but I'm just going to come over here and I'm just going to use this little bit of a flicking motion, and I'm just working on creating some shadows in all the areas on the outside of the leaves where I've laid that magenta color or process red. And after you do this, you can always come back again and go back over it with your red or pinks or whatever color it is you're using. Even if you're doing something and using another color, you just come back and you add the color back in. So I'm going to do that and add my process red right back over it again. And I think this is just really going to help my leaves to stand out in all the areas where I laid the process red. I think it really brightened my leaves up. I really, really like it. And make sure when you're coloring that you do constantly come back and you lay enough layers down before you come back to your final blending step or burnishing step or whatever it is you decide to do. Of course, you're not going to want to burnish if you want to be able to see a little bit of texture in whatever it is you're coloring. In that case, you would just continue to just blend your colors together, just not all the way, leaving a little bit of the texture in the paper. I'm going to come back with my spring green, and I think I just want to pull some of these greens into one another and blend them out just a little bit so that the lines don't look so harsh. And I'm just sort of also pulling them out and blending them over towards the pink. I'm just going to continue to do this in all of these areas where I have the darker green, pulling the colors through. And I'm not going to go too far into where I see the chartreuse because I want to come back and lay a little bit more of that down for just a pop of color. So now I have my chartreuse, and this is where I'm going to come back and just add that bright pop of color right here where the greens are. And I'm going to sort of pull it into the pinks. Over here on this leaf we had a lot of white left where we didn't really fill in the leaf. So I'm just coming in here to add a bit of a pop. I'm going to add some in here. Don't ever be afraid to experiment with your colors. And like I said earlier, just go slow. If you lay a color down that you don't really care for, you can always lift it up with your mono eraser. I don't know how many of you have seen that in my previous videos, but this is my mono eraser. And it has a very little tip on it, so it's really great for getting in those little small areas or where you happen to lay some color that you decide against it, or even if you make a mistake and you changed your mind. I actually did a video where I showed you how I pulled all of the pigment up on an image and recolored it, and you could never even tell that it was ever even another color. I'll try to link that up in the upper right hand corner, but I don't even know if I remember. It was one of my videos in my tips and tricks series. So a lot of times when I want to find one of those videos, I have to go back through all of them and sort of just look for them and watch a little bit of the video to see which one I did whatever it was I'm trying to find. We've gotten quite a few of the leaves done, and I'm pretty sure this video has gone on quite long already, so I think that we're going to go ahead and color in a strawberry, and then I may continue this video in a next one. So for the strawberries, I have the colors that were chosen from my color palette from the Color Companion, and I've got 925, which is Crimson Lake, and then I have Crimson Red and Blush Pink. And again, we're using blush pink. We just used the blush pink down here in the leaves. So we are going to use that again. And again, this is creating balance in our page because we're bringing the colors up and around, and we're also pulling the colors from the bird to the outside of the bird in the other objects on or in the coloring circle. So I am going to start with my lightest color for this strawberry. I'm going to start with this one down here, and I don't think these strawberries should be too hard or take too much time to color in. I'm not coloring all the areas in because my idea is to add a little bit of green to my strawberry. I know y'all have seen some strawberries where they have a touch of green to them. And so I kind of want to create that look. I've got the Crimson Red, and I'm going to come in here and color the areas I think would be more shadowed. I'm going to color over here all where the leaves are just to create a little bit more of a shadow. And again, I'm not coming all the way into the center because I have an even darker red, which is my Crimson Lake. And I'm going to use that to really create those shadows. And I'm going to have to come back and lay a few more layers. I like to try as much as I can, depending on the darkness of the colors that I have, to cover a lot of the black lines when I'm coloring, because it just creates a bit more dimension or a three-dimensional look in whatever object it is that you're coloring. Now again, I don't know where I'm going with this, so I've not laid a whole bunch of layers down yet, and I'm still keeping that center part because I really even still right now don't know where I want my little bit of green to go, but I don't even know what colors I want to use to add that little bit of green. I think I'm going to use my chartreuse. So I just want a touch of green. Right in here. And then maybe we could add our yellow chartreuse, pulling the green down even a little bit more. But I don't want too much of that. So now I know exactly where the green is. So now I could come back in there and use a little bit of my other colors and bring those in and place them exactly where I want them now. So let me lay a little bit more of my blush pink. Then I'm going to pull it closer up into where that green is now that I know what I want my strawberry to look like. And as I always do, I'm going to keep coming back with my colors, laying more. This is my mid-tone. So I'm coming up even closer to that green area. And now I'm going to come back with my darkest color Oh, I think my lead might be broken on this one. It looks a little bit shaky. I've not had that happen to me in the longest time. This is a new pencil, I believe. I pulled it out of my replacement set, so it may be a softer set. But I'm not going to be able to put the pressure behind the pencil I need to really create that shadow. Maybe I'll grab a gray to do that. Previously I was using the warm gray, and so I'm just going to use it again, and I'm going to add a little bit of shadow over here on this side. Oh, I like how that looks. You don't want to lay too much of that down just because you're only using it to create a shadow. You don't want to make your strawberry look gray. So you just lay a little bit of that down, and then you come back with your darkest color and you sort of blend that color into it and just go over it and pull it into the other colors. And now I'm going to lay one more layer and just sort of pull that in with my crimson red. I'm going to keep pulling in closer and closer to that green, and now I have my blush pink, and this is going to just give it a little bit of a highlight. Look how pretty that strawberry is. Oh, I love my strawberry. It's so pretty. So let's go ahead and color the little leaves off of the strawberry, or on the top of the strawberry. And I am going to grab, actually this time, the color that was suggested in my color palette. What color was that? It was like an olivey green. Yeah, the olive green. And I am going to pop some of this color in there. And of course, I don't want to go all the way over the whole thing because we all know I need a highlight color. And this is a very small area. This color has quite a bit of pigment. This is pretty dark color. So whatever color I come back with for that, I need to make sure that it is nice and sharp. I think I'm going to use my chartreuse, and so I'm just sharpening it with my Doll 133. Y'all probably already know what I'm sharpening with, right? And I'm going to pull that color up in each one of these and blend it in just a little bit. And now I'm going to add just a little bit more shadows. Oh, these intricate areas. So I'm going to fill all this in. And for this one, I'm going to leave the green area down towards the bottom. So that was my blush pink. Now I'm going to add some of this bright, beautiful red. This is my crimson red. This color is so pretty. Okay, so now we're going to see if we can come back with my Crimson Lake and see how much of this pigment I can get down here without worrying about my lead breaking. Let's go ahead and come up in this area and in between all of the little leaves on the strawberry. Now let's come back with our mid-tone and pull that in just a little bit. And again, I'll probably have to come back with my gray because I can't press too hard on that. What was that, Crimson Lake? And I have my chartreuse, and for this one I want my a little bit of green to be down closer toward the bottom. Maybe a little bit up further. And so now I can come back with my blush pink and pull this color down into that area and brighten all of this up, going over all of the other colors. Let me add a little bit more of my green. Bring it up just a little bit. How pretty. Okay, so we added gray before. Let's go ahead and grab our gray so that we could create those shadows where we want them. Oh, it's also giving it a much more three-dimensional look. I really like that. And you can even come around here. Oh, this is such a strange angle for me, trying to keep my hand out of the way while I color. And now just come back over with your darkest shade and color that in just a bit more. And there goes my lead about to break. And I have just a little bit of this blush pink in here, just to give it a little bit of a highlight. And those colors just look so pretty together. So we need to do the leaves now, and we need to grab our olive green. This is the easy part. You just have to come in here and just add a little bit of this. And then I'm going to pull it through with the chartreuse. And it's going to make for some really pretty leaves. And now I have my chartreuse. And I'm just going to blend that out and pull that color up towards the top. And over here where I have this one that's sort of laying over the other, I made sure that I added a bit extra of that olive green in there. And I should probably, I don't know, should I color this part in? Let's go ahead and do that while we're here, right? And then for this one, maybe we should use the yellow chartreuse. Color in the center of that with the yellow chartreuse. You probably can't even really tell a difference when you look at the coloring page. It just looks like I used the same colors. But this is so fun to color, and I definitely want to finish it. I've not gotten to color in this book a whole lot, except for what y'all have seen me do in my videos, which was only this bird. So I really want to color a lot more in this book, but right now I'm in the middle of a huge project that is coming to an end, and I'll be able to talk about it a little bit more later. But it's coming to a very close end, so my videos will be coming a lot more. I've been a little bit behind. I really love how this is turning out, but I'm going to have to finish it in a next video. If y'all want to see that, let me know in the comments below. But I'm sure this video is already quite long. I hope that you enjoyed me just sitting here and discussing my thoughts with you and how I just kind of make decisions as I go along, as I lay the colors down on the page and pick my colors and just go through the whole entire process. If you want to see more of this, please do let me know, because I would be glad to bring you this on my channel more and more. And if you enjoyed this video, please do make sure you give it a thumbs up, because it really helps my channel out a lot. Everything you've seen in the video I will link down in the description box below, including the link for Sarah Renee Clark's color catalog. Again, you could purchase volume 1 and volume 2 together. You could purchase each one separately if you'd like to. If you purchase volume 1 and volume 2 together, you could also add on the color companions, which are really great. I hope you all have a fabulous day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Happy coloring. Bye.